Friday morning, and it's going to be 80% chance of rain earlier on. Right now it's raining, so I guess that's 100%. We've climbed over the top of our ship. We're on top of, I think, Avalon, and this is the town of, I think it's Caux, is what it's pronounced. I'm not sure I remember, but we're going to go see a chateau and also no, American flag, son of a gun, and British flag. That's interesting. And then we're going to a monastery. Nicola will meet us here at his chateau, which is open to the public sometimes in the summer, but it's been closed since the middle of October.
And he will be introducing to all of you his castle. Then one group will go and visit inside, while the other will do the gardens and the museum of 1944. And then we will swap. Is it clear for everyone? Oui. Nicolas?
Okay. Hello everybody.
Bonjour.
It's a pleasure to receive you. It's not an easy job for me to receive and explain the story of the castle in English, okay? And excuse me for my bad English. Okay?
It's better than our bad French.
You prefer in French? Okay. In first time I present the story of the castle and the architecture. Okay? The group was cut in two. Another group visit the garden, the museum, and the first group stay with me. Okay? But for understand the story of the castle, it's obliged to start with the story of the outside. Okay? You have the really weather of Normandy today. Okay? For the story of the castle, during the Middle Age, the road front of the castle is very important. Okay? It's a road between Rouen and Le Havre. And before the castle, you have a fortified castle for protect the roads. Okay? During this time, in Normandy, you have the war between French and Great Britain. And the owner wants to protect the country and the road. At the start of the 16th century, the war is finished, and you have a new fashion in Normandy and in France. It's a Renaissance Italian, you know?
Oui, oui.
Perfect. And the owner destroys the fortified manor and build a new castle. This is the middle part, with the yellow stone. Now the same yellow stone of United States. It's a yellow stone from Paris, and you have different decoration from the second Renaissance Italian. In the first project, the middle of the project is with the arms. It's the arms of the new family. It's a family from Dufay du Tailly. The first man was Jean Dufay du Tailly. In the French noblesse, it's a tradition to have a long name. Okay? It's a seigneur, a French seigneur, and the arm is the cross from the Christian origin, and the star is not the star. In France, you have the chevalier?
Knight.
Knight, yes, knight. And with the foot, you have a star for push inside the horse. Okay? The spur. Okay. It's a spur from the knight and the cross from the Christian family. Okay? If you look the other hand, you have on the left the family Dufay du Tailly, and on the right, thank you so much, and on the right another family, because it's a wedding, a mariage in French. You have the French, you have the man, family Dufay du Tailly, and on the other side the woman. Okay? In France, you have, it's obliged to married between noblesse men and noblesse girl. Okay? The problem, the owner during the 16th century dead, and the castle don't finish. Okay? You have only the half, la moitié?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
half of the castle. Okay? It's after, with the 17th century, the new family wants to made a new wings. Okay? And reculer? Push back, sorry.
Yeah,
For look,
expand.
for look the castle. Push back, push back.
Go a little bit in the back. Go a little bit in the back, okay?
Okay.
Slowly, slowly. We're not interrupt.
You have two new wings from the 17th century. If you look, 17th century. If you look, you have different stone. The white stone, it's a stone from the area. If you travel on the River Seine, you look a different part in white stone along on the river bank. It's the local stone. And from the yellow stone, it's a stone from Paris. Okay? And if you look the different parts, you have the Renaissance Italian and you have Louis XIII. Okay? It's not the same decoration. On the left wing, you have two new parts from the 17th century. And in the old time, in this part it's a chapel. Okay? Today it's a theater. It's possible to look when you visit the inside of the castle. Okay? And at this time in French, you have the 17th century. It's not important to have a note a similar. Comment on dit l'harmonie, vous savez? Harmony, yes, it's so easy.
Yeah.
Harmony in French, harmony in English.
Yeah.
It's very important with the 18th century, the harmony. You know the French garden. It's the same for the construction. You have two wings on the left, you have two wings on the right, okay? But with the 17th century, it's not important. But with the 18th century, it's very important. This is this reason why the new owner at the 18th century made two new wings with the same size of the wings of the 17th century. Okay? But if you look, you have a new part with the new stone. It's not a stone. It's a brick. Oh, it's very easy.
Yeah.
For a red brick, it's earth, okay? In French, it's argile, clay. And for the brick yellow, the owner used de la vase. De la vase. A pot, okay? A pot from the River Seine. And when the pot, brick pot was burned, you have a yellow color, okay? In front of you, you have 300 years of different construction, different materials, and different style, okay? If you turn around, you look on the left, it's the cellar. A cellar from the, on the right, oh sorry, on the right, you have a cellar from 16th century, okay? And on the left, you have the stables. The stables from 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th century, okay? And at the 18th century, before the 18th century, you have a big wall with two towers for the principal, la cour, a principal yard and the other yard. And with at the 18th century, the new owner destroyed the wall and made the perspective with the beautiful tree. And the River Seine is just 600 meters from the castle, okay? It's, sorry, of mile. It's okay for all?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you a question? No, it's good for all? Okay, perfect. On the front of the castle, it's very rare to conserve the arms, okay? If you look top on the well, you have a leaf flower in the metal part. You see the leaf flower on the top. The leaf flower and the arms, it's a symbol of the French noblesse and the French royalty. Okay? With the French Revolution, the revolution destroys, the men destroy the souvenir from the French noblesse. Okay? It's very incredible today because on the domain of the Château du Tailly, the men don't destroy the souvenir and it conserves until today. Okay? Thank you so much.
Local guide into the garden, and then we'll go into the house, into the private museum. You don't have to watch my hair. It's the private museum of Normandy. Lots of stuff up here in this old building. From the 16th to the 18th century.
Ouais, les chevaux, ouais. Là, c'était manger. Ouais. Puis là, c'est en débarras.
Okay. And right here up, they were putting actually the food needed for the horses.
Dioramas up here. Nicholas started collecting from the age of 13, and this is his collection. Now we're going in the house.
It's very important to start the visit with the outside, okay? Why? The castle is a different period with different modification, okay? You are see it's 16, 17, 18. It's the same story inside. In the whole time, you have a big fireplace with a big space for the fire, okay? On the top, you don't have the white part, you have the metal, the wood part is apparent, okay? And on the wall, it's not a wall in wood, it's the stone, directly the stone, okay? And you have only one space. In this space, the owner receives the guest and takes the time just in one place, okay? At the 18th century, the new fashion, it's really different and really different decoration, okay? On the top, you protect the wood part with the, I don't know the name, the plaster, yes. And for the better protection and the better isolation, you have the wood part, okay? And the big fireplace was destroyed for made a new decoration with the stove, okay? In this room you have the table for the owner and his family. And you have the boiler, no, it's not a boiler, the stove.
No.
The small door is for open the fire, and the big door is for conserve the plates with the food. Not for cooking, because you have, after the door, you have the kitchen, you have the room for the personnel, okay? A small room, not front of the castle, under, and you have a room for conserve the heat, and another room for the washing, okay? And it's just, this part is just for conserve a good temperature for the food. This part is from the 19th century and the top from the 18th century. And the column is for the smoke, okay? And you have different decoration from Louis XVI. You discover with the castle a different architecture type, okay? With the Renaissance, Louis XIII. It's the same inside, okay? You have the decoration from Louis XVI. It's so simply, okay? You discover after the Louis XV, it's so heavy, okay? In French, I think you know the surname, it's Rococo. You know the Rococo?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. If you come in these rooms, you discover the stove, and if you visit the room after, you have the room of the music, okay? After
Music room. When he bought the castle, his parents lived here. It was empty.
16th century and 18th century. He survived to the French Revolution, but the family was ruined. Okay, and the French noblesse was finished. And it's a bourgeois, a bourgeoise man,
Sure.
a bourgeoisie, by the castle. And he conserved the castle between 19th century and just after the war. The last family is a rich family, and the professional activities was a maritime company on the River Seine. Okay? But after the war, the transport for the merchandise is really different. The French government want to use the road with the truck and the railway, railway, okay, and the family was ruined, okay, and the castle was abandoned during 20 years, okay, and it's a young man buy the castle. It's a man with 85 years old. It's incredible why this man buys castle at this age. A different person explained to me, all the life his dream is buy a castle, and he wait 5 years for buy a castle. But for this man it's a lot of work because the castle was in very bad condition. He died few years after. After it's another man buy the castle, and he conserved the castle only 5 years. And this man cut the space. Before it's closed, okay? Because you have this place for take the dinner, and after you have another place for welcome the guest. You have the Chinese room, it's for take the tea, okay? And it's not open, it's closed. It's so easy to conserve a good temperature and for confidentiality, okay? But the owner before my parents buy the castle, and he cut this part because he received a different big guest group, and he want to open the space, okay? But the boiserie and the wood plates was conserved. It's possible for me to open or closed, okay? I posted the visit. Come on, it's possible to visit the room for home. Okay, you have the Chinese room, and for the owner, for the customer, it's a room for take the tea. After the lunch, he visit this room and he stay with different chair for a game with different a game for read a book or for take a tea. It's a new fashion in France in 18th century. You have a different maritime road. Okay, at this time the French people discover and visit America. You have a road go to the America, and another road go to the China. Okay, and it's really fashion in France to have a Chinese room. And if you look, you have different paint on the paper of the decoration of the different presentation of life in the China. Okay, and if you look the decoration, it's really different to the other room. It's so simply. It's a Louis XVI style, and it's a Louis XV style. It's the same for the decoration. You have the secretary. If you look, you have different wood part. You have the metal part, and it's a generous. Okay, it's so rococo. Okay. the American people like the Rococo. And you have the mirror. This mirror is from the 18th century. It is in very bad condition, and if you look, it was cut because at this time it's not possible to make only one mirror. Okay, you have two mirrors, and it's a mirror with a plomb. It's not a silver paint.
Leg.
Okay.
Leg.
It's a lead. Okay.
That was from
And-
98 is
And
Paris.
I live in Paris with a small modern house with all the comforts. And my parents don't want to stay near Paris, and they want to live. We want to live in Normandy. And when I visit the castle, it's fire. Comment on dit, un coup de foudre?
No, we fell in love with it.
We fell in love with it.
Oh la la.
Yeah, oh là là.
Okay, and you want to live inside, in the castle. But after a few weeks, my parents, we realized it's not a simple adventure to have a castle. It's very big problem for pay the restoration, for the maintain, for the taxes, and I start different activities for pay the whole dispense of the castle. Okay, and I organize the weddings, a seminary, a professional for the professional team, different visit, cultural events, and guided tour. Okay, I finished the visit with the last rooms of the castle.
What was your education?
Sorry?
What was your education? What did you study to be?
Dans l'école.
Sorry?
Étudiant dans l'école.
Yeah,
For me?
Yeah, you.
Ah, yes, thank you.
thank you.
I have stopped my comment on dit?
Schooling.
Schooling, yes, for work only with the castle.
But when did you stop schooling?
Today, my school in Rouen, but it's finished
Yeah.
many years ago for organize and made sufficient activities for win the money and for pay the life of the castle. Today I have the chance, I have the lucky to pay the maintain a few restoration and my price. Okay.
Yeah.
In France, it's very rare to find a castle, to find l'équilibre. You know, it's not you're not the win. It's not less money. It's just équilibre.
Very given, yeah.
Okay, come on. You have a sufficient place for all. It's for discover the last room, the last principal room of the owner. It's in a whole time. If you remember the start of my presentation, you have the part of the 16th century and you have the new wing from the 17th century. And in the whole time, at this time, it's a chapel. On the left, you have the house of the chapelman. He lived here. He changed of the room in the sacristy and he entered in the chapel. Okay? But it's this it's a chapel between 17th and 19th century. A chapel, and you don't have a ceiling, it's open space. You have a balcony for the owner, and you have 3 ceremonies by each day in the chapel. Okay? At the start of 19th century, it's a new family by the castle. It's a bourgeois man. Okay? And he don't like the chapel, and he destroys the chapel. It's terrible. And he made an incredible theater. For this new theater, he conserved the open space between the ground and first, and he destroyed the ceiling between first and second and third.
Wow.
It's open between the ground and 18 meters between the ground and the roof. Why? In the second and third floor, it's for conserve the decoration of the theater, because if you have a show in a church you have the decoration of the church. If you have a forest, you have a show in a farm, and you change the decoration for the new, comment dire, un spectacle, un show, une pièce de théâtre, il y a un mot.
Play. Play.
A place, a play, okay? And you have the sound effect for the lightning, for the tempest, for the rain, okay? And at the start of 20th century, the new owner destroyed the big theater, and he made a new place on the top, okay? A beautiful place, beautiful room. And he was, he had the intelligence to conserve a small theater. And today I have the lucky to present to you a small theater. But he conserved the decoration on the paper on the left and right. It's from the 18th century, and this paint is from the 19th century. It's not a beautiful paint, okay? It's a child job. But he paints on the 18th century. Why? When he painted this decoration, he preferred this paint. The fashion was changed. Today is incredible now, but it's a story. And this paint, it's a very professional paint. You have the same paint on the ceiling. It's very beautiful. It's a trompe-l'œil. Okay, with a trompe-l'œil, with the paint and with the wood work, okay, from the 17th century. After he used a column from the 18th century, this part is from 20th century. This metal part is from 18, the stone ground is from 20. This decoration in a natural color is from the 17th fashion at the 18th century, and if you see the different room, you have the paint. If you are a rich man, you have the paint for the wood. Okay. Before it's a natural, but at the 18th century the fashion was changed. Okay. But this part at the 20th century, you want to conserve a natural color. Okay. A castle, it's a different experience for the new fashion. It's the same for the decoration inside, for the construction, for the garden. And during all the history of the France, you have the principal evolution with the owner of the castle. Okay? But before, at this time, it's a rich man. Today it's finished. In the castle, you have only a poor man. It's really different today.
Tour so far of this chateau. 62 rooms. The owner's son, who's now I guess the owner, took us through the first floor. It's just huge and gorgeous. And there's a flower garden, there's a garage. Really interesting. This was a last-minute decision to... Now we're going back to the bus. Go to a monastery, I understand. That's the monastery. One's from the 12th century. It's an abandoned abbey between the Christian Revolution and the World War. Pretty much took care of everything here.
You can see a vertical line and a horizontal line, a Latin cross. And it's not a coincidence. It symbolizes the cross where Jesus Christ was crucified.
chapel was built in the 1970s. It's called Chapel de Notre Dame.
Higher pieces of trees to make the wooden frameworks. So, tree trunks for the long horizontal beams and for the pillars. And you will look carefully at the bottom of each pillar there is a stone. Because in the nature the trees don't have the same height. But in a building, the pillars must have the same height. That's why you will see there is a stone with a different height at the bottom of each pillar. When you enter the church, you will see on your right there is a sculpture group from the 16th century. This is the entombment of Jesus Christ. And you will see some remains of paintings, blue symbolizing the sky, God, and red symbolizing the blood of Jesus Christ and the mother. So you can see the three coaches first at the end of the courtyard. At the bottom of the courtyard, we can see these are the workshops where the monks worked. So in front of the coaches, this is the older part. We have from the
And now we're walking across the street to the gift shop, which will be down this way, I think. You see the fall colors. We're walking down, now we're inside the church for an organ concert.
Organ of the 16th century and then rebuilt in the 18th century. And we have the honor and the pleasure today to have our organ player. He likes to say, I'm not from the 16th century, but from the 20th century. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see him, Monsieur Neveu. So ladies and gentlemen, he is going to perform for us approximately 15 minutes, all right? And that will be a medley of French and German music. At the end of the concert, I will be waiting for you outside and we go back to the ship together. Ladies and gentlemen, let's enjoy Monsieur Neveu. Merci.
Look at the church. We're going that way. I believe we're going that way. Oh, you should.
This will be another cheese from Normandy called Pont, P-O-N-T, l'évêque. Okay? Pont. Let's go together. Pont. Alright. L'évêque. So that will be, ladies and gentlemen, the third cheese that we are going to be discovering today. And now, thanks to our good friend Lucy, you remember this morning we went to Saint-Vendry as well, correct? And what do they produce there? Beer,
yeah.
Absolutely. So we're gonna start with the tasting of the beer of Saint-Vendry, okay? That will open our mouth, okay? Then we will continue with the cheeses. And at the end of the cheeses, we are going to have a digestif, which is going to be the famous Calvados. Absolutely. Does it sound like a plan?
Yes, oui.
Do I have a oui?
Oui.
Perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, and in two types of places, all right? One will be, of course, the supermarket, and the other one will be a specific store for cheeses, and this is called fromagerie. You see? Fromagerie. Fromage in French is the cheese. Fromagerie is the place where you can buy only cheeses. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you will immediately recognize a camembert. Okay? It's a wooden box that has a round form. Alright? So, what you can do, and please don't be afraid to do that. All the French people are doing that, and do trust me, it's not disgusting. And there is one reason, is that the cheese is not immediately when you open it. Between the cheese and the wood, there is or a plastic file or a paper file, all right? So you don't have direct access with your finger to the cheese, all right? So you open the box, the cheese is inside, the camembert. And guess what you do? You put your finger in the heart of the cheese. Look at me. You see? Oh, thank you, Sandra. All right, thank you, Sandra. So, if you cannot put your cheese in the heart, it means that it's too early, all right? If you can put the cheese up until the end almost, oh la la, almost a toxic waste, all right? So the perfect thing is that you can put your finger until the middle and that the cheese comes back again, all right? That, thank you, Sandra, that will be the perfect moment. So let's talk now a little bit about the history of this cheese. This cheese actually is very interesting because at the beginning it is not a Norman cheese. Let me explain to you what I mean. You all heard about 1789, correct?
Yes.
French Revolution. The most difficult years of the revolution, or what we call the terror, because unfortunately the guillotine was chopping quite a lot of heads, okay? That was 1791 and 1792. And they were chopping the heads of two classes of society, in the society, the nobility and the clergy, all right? So there is one monk that left the region of Brie and find himself actually in Normandy, okay? And he was hidden by a lady in a farm. And because he was hidden and finally he didn't have his head chopped, he gave the secret recipe of the Brie to that lady. But guess what? Different cows, correct? Different milk. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, how the camembert was born, all right? So 1791 is the first date recorded that we have, you know, of the camembert. You want them to taste cheese, of course, with a good wine, all right? Don't take the cheese outside the fridge 5 minutes prior. No, don't do that. Leave it at least between half an hour to 1 hour so it takes slowly the temperature and the oxygen, all right? Clear for everyone? Do I have a oui-oui? So now you're experts in camembert, correct? All right, let us continue now with the second cheese that Sandra and myself have chosen for you here today. The second cheese is cow milk, always, coming from the Jura, northeastern part of France, and is yellowish. Okay, I will show it to you. I can point it out now, but of course you'll have the opportunity as well to taste it. Thank you very much, Sandra. This is now the famous, bless you, madame, the famous Comté, C-O-M-T-E with an accent. Now, ladies and gentlemen, how long do you think the maturation of a Comté is? Tell me.
6 months.
6 months. Very good, madame. The minimum is 4 months. And it can go up to? More than a year. Up to 18 months, ladies and gentlemen. All right? So just to give you an idea how it is presented, you won't have, or very rarely you will have the whole Comté, but generally speaking you will be able to buy slices of Comté, all right? Do you know all the Parmigiano Reggiano in Italian? Do you know how it comes?
Yeah.
Round?
Wheel.
Exactly. So it's exactly the same thing with the Comté, all right? So you have now a job that is called affineur. Affinage is very important. It is the moment of the maturation. Affinage equals maturation, all right? What do? They let the cheese mature, and after 4 months, depending on the quality of the Comté that they want, they have a special little, it's like a knife, okay? It's like a tool and a knife. They put it in, they go like this, and then they take out a slice. And then, ladies and gentlemen, they give a note. And the note doesn't go from A to F, but it's a note that goes from 14 over 20 and up to 20, all right? So, from 0 up to 20, all right? If the cheese is less than 14, guess what? She's out. It must be 14 and up. And now, thanks to Sandra, I think this one is 12 months. Thank you very much. So it's a 12 month. This is a really good Comté that you're going to be able to taste. One more thing. How old is the Comté? Tell me. 100 years ago? 200? 1,000 years old. Absolutely correct.
Happy
Comté
birthday.
is one of the oldest cheeses that we do have here in France. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the third one, the third cheese. So this is a cheese that is 1,100, 1,200 years old, older even than the Comté. And it's made here actually in a very precise place. It's called Le Pays d'Auge. We will pass through the Pays d'Auge. It's from Honfleur and onwards towards the D-Day beaches, okay? And guess what? Look at that. Different shape, isn't it? It's square, absolutely. Eh? And this is called, ladies and gentlemen, the Pont l'Évêque. Pont l'Évêque. Now, exactly the same technique. Oh, you open it, you put your finger in, and you remember? It does not need that your finger stays up or can go until the end. It has to go until the middle, and then the cheese has to come back to its initial position, ladies and gentlemen. I strongly recommend it as well, just for you to know this is a little bit stronger than the camembert. So when we will be doing our tasting in a few moments, we will first start, ladies and gentlemen, with the camembert. The second cheese you're going to taste is the Comté. And the last cheese that you're going to taste is the Pont l'Évêque. All these cheeses couldn't actually exist without a bread that is probably the most famous bread, French bread in the world, the baguette. Absolutely correct. And thanks to Sandra, we have fresh baguette that is coming from this town here, that was bought this morning. One very important thing, ladies and gentlemen, if you buy a baguette, please consume it in, let's say, the 5, 6, 7, maximum 8 hours after, all right? The next day, if you try to eat a baguette, do trust me, it will be like a baseball bat, all right? So you definitely do not want that. So I repeat, for the baguette, always taste it fresh. Now, one more thing. In most of the bakeries in France, not all, but most, during lunchtime, you can go there and have a wonderful snack. Guess what? It will be a slice of baguette with on it, it can be French cheese, you know, salamis and so on. I strongly recommend that you do at least once, you know, during this beautiful cruise, that you do that. And of course that you taste the croissant, the pain au chocolat, and so on. Now in my hands is really one of the most famous drinks that of course Normandy produces. Why that? Here we are up north, as you can understand, and you will not see a lot of grapes. But guess what? They do have a lot of apples. Do you know how many different species of apples they have?
14.
Give me a number.
14.
13 more?
145.
145 more, madame? Yeah. 146? No, I'm kidding. Yeah? More than that. Yeah? 700 different species. Incredible, isn't it? Yeah? So from these apples, what do they do? Generally speaking, this is a general rule. The big apples are to be eaten. The smaller apples are to make different things. One thing will be apple juice, correct? The other thing will be, we say it in French, cidre, and you call it cider, correct? And the other thing will be, ladies and gentlemen, as well, to do this famous Calvados. So the Calvados is made by apples that they're distilled 2 times. And you have several qualities of Calvados, all right? It is a little bit like the cognac, okay? First is a 3-star, okay? 3-star or 3 apples. That will be a minimum of maturation in oak barrels, okay, for 2 years. Then you have the fine one, the one that we have here, that is 3 years and more. And then you have, probably you heard about the VSOP, for those of you who have tasted cognac, right. That will be 5 years and more. And guess what? We will be tomorrow in the region as well of Caux, where they are actually producing Calvados. So if you wish, of course, and Sandra will let you know the different places, you can buy Calvados in Honfleur, of course. For those of you who wish to bring it back to the States, you have to know that then you will have to put it, and this is a little bit tricky, in your big suitcase,
sure.
right?
Sure.
Otherwise, if you want, of course, you'll have the opportunity to buy Calvados as well at the duty-free. But here you will have a bigger variety, okay? Prices, more or less the same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, are there any questions? Yes, madam?